Welcome to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast, where we learn about some success stories and some not so successful stories. But either way, we learn. Each episode, we talk with successful real estate agents and vendors about things they have done to make them successful and some things they did that you might want to avoid. Join us for each episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin.
All right, listeners. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast. I have a buddy of mine on here. We have, this is our second time on the air together. We did a radio show before. Mr. Rob Wachter. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm great. Thanks, Preston. Appreciate you inviting me on today.
Awesome. Well, I love doing the show with you a while back, and we've done some business together, and I think you're super professional, and I'm an admirer of you and your firm and all that. But before we get into that, let's back up a little bit, because there's probably some listeners or watchers, this also goes out on YouTube, that might not know who you are. So for those 5 people who don't know who you are, give us a little background. And I would be remiss if I don't touch on this. I see that you're from Sleepy Hollow, New York. So obviously, I'm sure you never get asked about that ever. Ichabod Crane and Washington Irving. I'm sure there's been all kinds of field trips. So
yeah, I went to high school with Ichabod actually, but no, I'm kidding.
Awesome. Give us your background and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, I grew up in Sleepy Hollow, which is a suburb of New York City. It's in the Hudson Valley, just the middle of Westchester County. It's a historical little town. It's where Washington Irving grew up, and his estate is there, which is where the naming came from. And there's a lot of history there. So grew up there, went to college in upstate New York, a little school called Skidmore College, and got my bachelor's degree in business and government administration there. Got into banking for a while, and that was actually what was going to be my career, I thought. But I don't know if you've ever heard of bank mergers that happened, especially back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah. I was a finance major. I know. It was hard.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I had 12 different jobs, even though I only had 3 different desks, because the bank name kept changing. I joke with people, I kept climbing the corporate ladder only to find it leaning on the wrong building.
Right.
So literally in 2000, I decided I was going to go work for the one bank that never merged with anybody. So after 6 months at Wachovia, First Union came in, and that's when I said, maybe this revolving door just isn't for me.
Right.
There's a lot of things happening in the banking industry that, things were changing. When I was a branch manager back in the 90s, it was a pretty respectable position. It was lending authority, it was just very different than it is now.
Right.
So I got out of banking and decided, I was going to get into real estate. I did a lot of real estate lending when I was at the bank. So it was kind of a natural fit. I did a lot of work in finance. I did some wealth management work, some trust work, did some financial advising to people, and it just seemed like a natural fit.
Cool.
So, then I became, an individual real estate agent back in about 2008 or 9. What a great time to start the business.
right on the tail, right when it was going downhill.
Well, the first things I learned were short sales and foreclosures, so baptism by fire.
Right. Now, where did you do your real estate training?
It's a great question. It's a complicated answer. Initially it was with Mingle School, Canopy School. But that was in the early 2000s when I first thought I was going to get into real estate. But then I let that lapse because I hadn't had much success at that point. I had a couple other things going on. So I had to go back to school the second time. And at that point I had met Bill Gallagher and been to a number of his classes. So Superior School of Real Estate is where I ended up getting my license the second time. Okay. And that's where I typically go for my CE.
Cool. So
I think you might know Bill, right?
A little bit. I sponsored a few classes. So now you were an individual agent, and now I can't remember how long ago was it when we did that radio show. But now you've built your own firm, JPAR. So how did you get from individual agent? And I'm assuming that was 8, 9, or 10 or something. And
Right. And just to be real clear, it's not JPAR is not my firm,
okay.
but I am an investor in the firm.
Okay.
So I'll take you through that. I knocked around with a bunch of firms, a couple boutique firms, a couple of big firms, and just never really kind of found what was right for me. Right. And it wasn't until about 2012 I got my designation as a seniors real estate specialist, and realized that that's something that I really wanted to focus on. Right. I wanted to work towards building a team. So I went and I was actually introduced to Keller Williams at that point by Mark Ramsey. I don't know if you know Mark.
I do.
And I spent, probably 6 or 7 years at Keller Williams, and it was a great organization, met a lot of great people. And then things kind of evolved from there. My team started to grow. And frankly, Sarah Zadeb, who I think you may know, who was one of the agents that I worked with at Keller Williams, found out she had opened a franchise of JPAR. JPAR is a firm out of Texas. It's a flat fee firm. We've been growing pretty significantly over the last 5 years. And, she called me and she's like, "Hey, why don't you come check this out?" And I said, "Well, I'll give it a couple months. Let me see how this goes," and sure enough, things went well. And I joined her in October of 2019. And by December of 2019, I was so impressed with what was going on, I became one of the investors and minority owners. So it's a phenomenal organization. It's basically a firm that provides the full services that most realtors are looking for, with just simply a low flat fee per transaction. And it's a capped model, so that there's even limits to how much you pay. So if you're an agent that is feeling like you're spending a lot of money to a big firm, you may be spending more than you need to. So, and we've grown from 0 to about 105 agents in just about 2 years.
Wow.
And that's, of course, during the, let's just say 2020 wasn't the year that any of us expected. So despite that, the growth has been pretty strong. So it's been an exciting ride. There's a whole bunch of great people there. But Sarah is the CEO. She is the broker in charge and a tremendous influence on our organization.
Cool. Now, let me ask you a little bit. As far as JPAR goes, do you guys provide training? Do you have like virtual options? And I mean, that seems to be a big thing now.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad you asked that, because one of the things that I think sets us apart from some of the other low-cost firms is, in addition to an extensive library of virtual training, we have in-person training. We have in-person mentorship program that almost like an apprenticeship program, basically, to help people launch their business, where they get coached by a mentor that is responsible for their success, in person or via Zoom, but not via avatar, not by something from someone across the state, someone that can go out on appointments with people, someone that can do open houses with them. And that kind of, I think, I hate to use the word old school, but I think personalized training is really help people succeed.
Awesome. Now, speak to me a little bit, Rob, about becoming a senior specialist. I can't help. I hope this doesn't make me like I'm stereotyping or anything, but I do think the fact that you're from New York, that you probably have some shared, what am I going to say here? Backgrounds or something. A lot of people from New York like to move down.
There are more than a few
when
imports here.
So that's right. Kind of, I mean, I hope that didn't I hope I wasn't, but I would think that would, you being able to have a culture that you understand a little bit, and then you understand probably both cultures and get them. So speak to me a little bit, and I hope I didn't stereotype there.
No, we have a significant number of Northeastern retirees that land here in Charlotte. And interestingly enough, one of the reasons, there's two reasons I think that happens. Number one, their children often move here for jobs, right? Like I did, and that's when my father moved down here, because I moved here. And we get a lot of what we call halfbacks. Have you heard the term halfback?
I'm glad you said it. I was going to say it. But
that's the folks from New York that head to Florida and say, "Boy, it's too damn hot down here. I think I'm going to move back halfway back." Right. And it's really a perfect place to retire, because the cost of living is low. You have 4 seasons, but none of them are oppressive. And there's culture. The culture that has grown here in the last 20 years is just outstanding. Yeah. I remember when I first got here in 97, it was hard to find a decent pizza or a good bagel.
Right.
But now the food and the culture and the art, and it's just tremendous. So it's a very popular place.
Awesome.
So really, I worked with a lot of folks at the bank planning their retirement, people in their 50s and 60s. And I hadn't even considered blending that with real estate till about 2012, when I first saw an ad for a class for seniors real estate specialists. I said, what is this? And I really, I would like to lobby NAR and ask them to change the name of the designation, because their definition of seniors is similar to AARP, which means if you're 50, for 51, you're a senior, which I think we have some opportunity for branding there. But essentially it's to focus on the needs of people that are 50 and up. And it's focusing on the financial needs that are unique to people in that demographic, social needs, sometimes the healthcare needs, tax planning, a lot of things like that. So someone that really uses that designation can be as much of a long-term financial planner and family partner as they are a real estate agent. And I was really used to that. And I thought, gosh, being a real estate agent sounds good, but being transactional, selling a house and that's it, seems like you're just on a hamster wheel that you just have to run like crazy on. And it costs a lot of money to acquire clients from advertising, from marketing. So I said, what if I built a base of clients using the network that I already had, as well as becoming kind of an advisor, someone that would really be able to work with people, not just transactionally, but holistically. And it really fit within what my experience was. So that's why I thought this is great. And frankly, just from a business perspective, it made sense. Baby boomers are aging. They're one of the biggest demographics. As people age, when it's time to downsize, they often have to do that, whether the interest rates are up or down, whether house prices are up or down. So it's fairly a recession-resistant demographic. So in addition to being what I had really had a passion for, it made business sense. And frankly, after helping my father move down here and working with a lot of seniors over the years, I've really become passionate about helping protect people from what I call some of the real estate predators. Just the same way there are scammers out there trying to take advantage of people, through the internet, through, well, let me come cut the tree down in your yard for $1,000. There are people that, will watch the obituaries, or we'll be cruising neighborhoods looking for a car in a driveway that says, home healthcare company. And they start, approaching these people, say, oh, we'll pay cash for your house. We'll get you closed and out of there in 10 days. It'll really help you. And most of the time, those people are just being totally taken advantage of. So one of my missions is to educate and help protect some of the more vulnerable people from those situations. So okay. Put all that together, and it's when I really realized that was what I was going to do with my career.
No, I think it's great. And I'm sort of in a similar situation with my mom right now. She lives up the road in High Point, Archdale, Trinity. That's where she grew up. And we're trying to get her to move down here so that she's closer to, my wife and I and our kids. I mean, so that we could, she's kind of isolated out in the country out there. And she grew up there. And I'm the same way. These emails come, and my mom is just, I don't want to say gullible, but she came from a time when
trusting.
Yeah, there you go. And so I guess my question to you helped your dad. I'm trying to talk my mom into, and I would love for her to come down here into like one of these communities that has a lot of activities and stuff. But she grew up on a farm and, is used to that. But now it's like, she's kind of isolated, and I don't know how I guess I'm asking for help.
Sure. No, so, and I'm really glad.
How do you talk to somebody? Because I think, and I worry a little bit about her health if she falls or something like that. And it's like I kind of make a point every day to try to message her. And if I don't hear back from her, I'm a little like, I mean, I hope that.
Mhm.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So how do you do that? And what's important? I mean, obviously the master down or one floor. I mean, what besides that, how do you talk and what's important? And there's probably a lot of younger real estate agents listening to this that,
Mhm.
just so they have an idea what's really important to seniors. I mean,
I'm really glad you asked that, because that is a question I get asked a lot. And there's two things that I've realized, and I work in my practice, that I think really affect this. First is to sit down and have a consultation with someone. And I work with a lot of families that maybe aren't looking at buying or selling tomorrow, but they need to start the process with their parent. They need someone that is neutral to come in and ask the right questions, listen with the right ear, offer suggestions, and kind of, just ask them, why don't you want to move? Why do you want to move? What's keeping you there? And a lot of times it is the fact that they just don't know what their options are.
right.
And there are a million websites, and there's a lot of people that get paid a lot of money to push people to different organizations. And one of the things that I decided a while back was I want to help educate this group of people. So I actually started my own Facebook Live show once a month. We do, called Senior Living Options in Charlotte. And what I do is I go to different retirement communities, and we do a live show there and tour the community. And we catalog those on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, so that people that are thinking about moving can go see a tour and talk, hear about these communities without the pressure of talking to one of the salespeople. And that's a commitment that I've made, to try to just be a resource to people out there.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I don't know how to explain this. I mean, I'm sure you would understand, because you have aging parents and you're worried about them, but it's like you've got your own career and family, and at times I feel bad because but it's like, how do I make sure that mom's taken care of? And like, I mean, she lives on her own and she's independent, but I worry about her, but it's like, I don't have a whole lot of time because I'm so busy with my own thing. And I hope that doesn't sound like being a bad kid or something, but I got my own kids too that are demanding time and stuff,
and most parents want their children to have their own life and take care of their own children. They don't want to, there are a lot of different resources from, agencies that will come in and visit once a week and, check on people, or twice a week, or however often that you need, to communities that are, designated 55 and up. There are apartment communities. There are housing, single family home communities. There are a lot of different communities that people have options where there's neighbors, and there's people a lot of these 55 and up communities, make little like families in cul-de-sacs and neighborhoods, and they check on each other, and they're constantly supporting each other, all the way right through to, to some independent living communities where basically you have to check in with the front desk or the concierge every day. And if you don't, they come check on you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different options. And sometimes, we do a lot of consulting on what I call safely aging in place. And aging in place is a term that you hear a lot in the industry. And it seems that a lot of people equate that with never leaving the house you've lived in for all these years. When sometimes that's certainly the case, but sometimes it's simply staying in a safe home without going to an assisted living or, one of the retirement homes.
Right.
Sometimes it's moving out of the 2-story house that you raised your kids into a ranch, something a little bit more affordable. And there's a lot of unique financing opportunities that are available to people in that situation that they might not even know about. And we do a good bit of consulting on that too.
I might have to call you up on that, because I'm kind of in that catch-20. It's like, I don't want to force my mom to do something she doesn't want to do, but I also feel like she doesn't know the options. And if she would at least look at, I want everything to be her own decision. I'm not ever going to force my mom to do something, but I'm out there inspecting and I see these other communities and I'm like, man, my mom would flourish in this if she just could, But anyway,
No.
Hello, I'm Bill Gallagher with Superior School of Real Estate, and I'm here with Preston Sandlin of Home Inspection Carolina. Preston, I've always liked your style, especially those pants, and also I've been interested in the home inspection business for a long time.
Well, Bill, that's ironic. I've always admired your style, and I've always admired your ability to educate these fine folks for sometimes 4-8 hours a day. I wish that I could do what you do.
Hey Preston, wouldn't it be cool if we switched? Preston, we sure got what we wished for, buddy.
We sure did. And now that you're the expert, Bill, I mean, you are wearing the pants, and I'm the instructor and the educator. Tell us what Home Inspection Carolina is doing these days to make the home buying process easier for realtors and home buyers.
Well, Preston, all our home inspection reports now are online for the real estate agent and the client to review the report online and to be able to create a repair list basically online by either clicking repair, accept, monetary compensation, and once they prepare the request, they can then press email, text, or print right then.
You mean it's all automated, Bill?
Absolutely, we are high tech.
Wow. What else is Home Inspection Carolina doing different these days?
Well, Preston, we're training our home inspectors to be non-alarmist. We are training them to put things into perspective and to simplify the message for the homeowner.
Non-alarmist is key, Bill. You remember those days of the 100-page reports and those 3-ring binders that would just go on and on and on, la 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 la. Thank you for being a good non-alarmist.
And Preston, one more thing. We fix the small stuff for free. Do you remember when home inspectors always put those little nitpicky items on those reports?
Oh, bless their hearts.
Well, at Home Inspection Carolina, if we can fix it in 5 minutes or less, we do it for free. We're better with a caulk gun than a keyboard any day. We just fix it.
You mean there's no cost for this, Bill?
Preston, it's free.
Wow.
Well, Preston, these pants really are a catch.
Well, Bill, I've enjoyed wearing the suit, but I don't think I could wear it every day because I got to fix the small stuff for free, and I don't want to ruin a good suit.
Preston, it's been a lot of fun flipping the switch.
Moving on, changing topics slightly here, and I know your time's really valuable, Rob, and I appreciate, and all the listeners appreciate. Speaking of, a lot of new agents listen to the podcast, or just getting started in the business. I sponsor a lot of the new agent orientation at Canopy, and now we're doing it virtual, but back when it was live before COVID. It's funny. I did it for years, and I started to figure out that, every time I looked out into that crowd, there's a couple that are, out of 70, 80 new agents every month or whatever, there's a couple that are going to be, all-stars, but there's going to be a lot that wash out. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, I guess. I don't know, for lack of a better term. What do you think is the difference between the people who stick in this business and make it and those that wash out? What's the magic ingredient, if there is such a thing?
Sure. And that's a great question. And I think there's a couple of answers. I think that the person that's going to succeed, first of all, has a can do, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm going to put in my dues attitude. There are a lot of people that get in the business that watch HGTV or, see a couple of shows. I'll show a couple of houses. I'll make $50,000. That'll be great. Which you and I both know, it's building a practice over time. You can be an agent and sell a couple houses and make a few dollars, or you can build a practice and have a career, where you make a lot of money. And that career requires time and investment. It also requires wisely picking an organization that's committed to training. And I think one of the key things is to find a situation where the organization is benefiting from your success as much as you are. If you go to a place that has a great library of online classes and they just plug you in and they take $100 a month from you and that's it, that doesn't really necessarily help you succeed. If you go to an organization that has, a good mentorship program, that is where, I think it will teach you to have a practice. The other thing, honestly, I think one of the things, and I clearly learned that in my business, is finding a specialty. And each person has the ability to choose that based on their own life experience and their prior career, if they have one, their interests. And some people want to be way too broad. They fire that shotgun approach to try to, get some business, and they might, pick off one or two early on, but it's not sustainable. My business truly changed when I decided to focus on seniors. And I started building a team of seniors real estate specialists, of which we have 3 of us now on the team that are dedicated to that specialty. We can do stuff for people of any age, but we know where our bread and we know which side our bread is buttered on, so to speak, and we stick with that that niche, and that's really, I think, the key.
Yeah, and and seniors is certainly a niche. I know an agent very similar who their niche is law enforcement. They were in law enforcement, their partners in law enforcement, so they knew that landscape very well, and they knew they were able to, they had a lot of credibility in that circle, so they niched that. And then I know another one that did the same thing with teachers. They were a former teacher that did that. So I think you're right. If you have a niche, you can use a little bit, because everybody needs housing. And if you have a niche or something that you did in your former life, and you've still got some credibility there, or some friends there, or whatnot, that I totally agree. I mean, because with my mom, I would think, well, who specializes in this? And if I was in law enforcement or whatever it was, I was, I would ask around, well, who knows my needs? I think that's excellent. Let me ask you this. Do you believe in coaching or scripts, or is that all part of choosing the right firm, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, and yes. I think they're all necessary. I think, the best of the best, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, whoever you want to name, they all have coaches, right? And they're the best in the world at what they do, right? So who could possibly teach them anything? Coaches do so much more than just teach you things. They keep you on track. They keep you motivated. They keep you accountable for the things often that you've even said you want to do, not that they create things for you. And that accountability and that professionalism is key. Coaching can be expensive. I do think it can be very worth it. But one of the ways new agents can get coaching for little to nothing is by joining a team. And teams have become very big in today's world, specifically for that purpose. People coming out of school have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to build a business, and it's hard to get experience.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Rob. I'm gonna not play devil's advocate, but I'm pretend like I'm a new agent, and I do believe in coaching, but there's also, how do I know? I guess my question is, how do I know I want to get coaching, but I want to get the right coaching? How can I research that or get on the right team? I mean, because I don't want to, as you said earlier in the interview, I don't want my ladder to be on the wrong. I don't want to put my ladder on the wrong. How do I find the right house to put my ladder on? I guess is what I'm asking.
I mean, that's a great question. And there are a lot of different kinds of teams out there. There are teams that are very, very large, and they have a huge engine running for marketing and advertising. And you may hear them on the radio, TV, and billboards. And you can often plug into teams like that and, ride the wave and learn some things and probably get some leads. And that can be very attractive depending on the agent. There are smaller teams that have niches, that if you find one that has a niche that is a niche that you like, that might work for you. There are medium-sized teams that, kind of have a little bit of both. So it's really a matter of interviewing around and finding out who's got what you need and what's a good cultural fit. Some people don't want to come into an office and just want some leads passed to them and a library of videos to watch. Some people want to come into an office and have camaraderie and practice and role play things with each other. So it really depends on the individual and what they're looking for. My team, we started hiring senior specialists, and the last senior specialist I hired has a master's degree in gerontology. We made a commitment that if someone has a passion for working with seniors, my team would be a good place for them to be. I know people that have teams that work on distressed properties, short sales and foreclosures, some that work on investment property. So looking around and interviewing and finding out what's a good fit and what is the long-term goal of the team. Are they looking to just churn people through and have people running the transactions, or is the person that's going to become part of that team going to be a long-term integral part of that group?
Right.
And does that fit with the agent's desires?
I want to add something to what you said too. Obviously, like, your niche could be seniors and or law enforcement or whatever. Sometimes there's a geographical niche. I know my wife and I are kind of flirting with the idea of getting a little place in Florida, and I've been watching videos, and there are some realtors that just dominate a certain planned community or something that, like, and quite honestly, you watch a couple of videos, and if they really seem knowledgeable, would you agree that they could also do a geographical niche as well?
Absolutely. And that's something that sometimes takes a little bit more time and money,
right?
Because you have to spend the time farming that neighborhood and getting to know that neighborhood. And if you're going to do that the right way, there are some specific techniques that you need to employ. If you just simply post a YouTube video saying, "Hey, I know all about ABC neighborhood," that's not going to get you where you need to be.
Right.
You need to consistently be in the face of the people in that neighborhood and have the ability to promote that neighborhood, nationally sometimes. But using the right social media and web advertising can often help you with that.
And provide quality content, because that's the thing that, like, I've noticed, and I'm just kind of flirting with the idea, and it's like, this one or two realtors, like, every one of their videos is like, it's good stuff. Yeah. It's like a lot of stuff I didn't consider, and good stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, Rob, one last question for the lightning round. And I know I don't want to hold you up too long. You're a busy guy. I like to give everybody a little practical, hand-to-hand strategic, and then I'll hit the lightning round and we'll be done. The strategic, something they can use, listing presentation. If an agent is going into a listing presentation and the classical, three, they're going to have three. I mean, I don't know if that ever happens, but that's what they always tell you, get 3 listing presentations. What advice would you have for a young agent? I mean, and I don't mean young in an age, I just mean young in real estate.
A new agent. Newer.
Yeah, new agent. Yeah, better terminology there. What advice would you have for them going into a listing presentation to stand out, or strategy, or to what to do or what not to do, that sort of thing?
Good question. I think that knowing your stats, your market, the neighborhood of the house, and the statistics of your firm, because when you're new, you don't have a lot of history, but the firm that you've chosen or the team that you've chosen should be able to provide you with statistics that hopefully are positive. And the second thing really is ask the client, let the client drive the process. I'm really big at teaching asking open-ended questions. If you have a conversation with a seller and ask them questions like, tell me about what you're looking for in a real estate agent. Tell me about your plans. Get to know them, connect with them. You have a really good chance at winning that business, because you have to be good at your CMA. You have to be good at your market knowledge. And we'll just assume that if you haven't done that research, you're probably out of the game. After that, it's the connection at the personal level with the person and them being able to trust you.
Awesome.
So build trust by getting to know them.
Awesome, Rob. That's one of the best answers I've had to that question. Just straightforward. I like it. All right, lightning round. I hope. And
You didn't
Rob,
prepare me
listening
for
out
this.
there, Rob had no prep. I mean, I didn't mean it like he didn't prepare. I didn't give him anything to prepare for. So he's totally like, he's as blindsided as you are with these questions, and he's done a fantastic job. So I like to just lighten it up here at the end and make it a little fun. So this is a little game called This or That. So I give you two things and you choose from them. Basketball or football?
Football.
Ginger or Marianne?
Oh, Marianne.
Marianne. That's the majority of people say. Christmas Vacation or Elf?
Christmas Vacation.
Celebrity crush could be from childhood. Mine was Farrah Fawcett.
Sandy B, probably. Sandra Bullock.
Gotcha. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be? I know that I'm sorry. This is like, he didn't have any preparation.
That's a tough one.
I'll come back to that one.
Come back to that one. I want to give you a minute on that one.
All right. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
All right. Would you rather have a phone call or text?
Depends on who's on the other end. Phone call.
That's true. That's very true. Are you iOS or Android?
iOS.
iOS. Yeah, my whole family is, but I'm an Android man. I'm still holding the PC. Everybody else got Macs.
Once you go Mac, you never go back.
That's what everybody says. They don't like. They always. I get discriminated against because my text comes in like a different. It's not. You can tell I got an Android. You got a bad phone. Like, would you rather have a big party or a small gathering?
Big party.
Sandals or tennis shoes?
Tennis shoes. They're called sneakers where I came from.
Gotcha. Are you iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee.
And the biggest, the most important this or that is the toilet paper, over or under? Beard or mullet?
Whichever way it lands.
And most people are, beard? They want it this way. I know some inspectors that if it's the other way, they'll actually change it. I'm like, don't mess with people's toilet paper.
The only advice I have on that is it depends on whether you have a cat, right? Because if the cat starts rolling the roll and it's underneath, it'll just go on forever.
That's
all over your house.
Good point. You're a smart guy, Rob. All right, I'm going to come back. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. The dinner with anyone, dead or alive. And
there's so many different ways it could go. And, there's the obvious, my ancestors, Jesus, things like that. But, honestly, I think FDR. I'd really like to, from a kind of just a practical, somewhat historical perspective, I'd really love to have known, what was going on in his head through a lot of his presidency and his life back then.
Pretty amazing too that he was he didn't let anybody see it, but I guess it was his polio. I mean, he couldn't walk for like the last but they never back then they were a lot more.
There was no Facebook then, right?
Yeah. But I've been down to that place in Georgia. What is it? Hot Springs, Georgia or something. That was like where he went because of his polio and stuff. It's like they got something there called the Little White House or something. But that was a good one, man. I like it. Mm-hmm. Well, very last question. If you had to start your, if you went to bed tonight, Rob, and woke up in a brand new world, you still have all of your resources as far as your knowledge, room and board taken care of, but you woke up in a place equal to size as Charlotte and you didn't know anybody and you had to start your business all over, but you've got all your computers, all your, you got $5,000. What are you going to do with that $5,000 so it's kind of an ROI question, I guess. What would be the best use to get your name out there, to get some business? If you had to start all over, but everything else was taken care of, how would you use that $5,000?
That's a really good question. I think I would use that $5,000 to, and really just a portion of it, to just create a brand, a recognizable logo identity. And you don't need money to build the business. if you do it the right way. I would suggest that person just begins networking. I would start networking. I would go to meetings. I would join the Kiwanis. I would go to networking clubs, BNIs, and just start to get to know people and determine what type of people I wanted to be around, and then dig deeper with that particular niche.
Awesome. Great answer. Well,
So
Rob,
save that money for lunches and dinners out with people.
there you go. Well, Rob, you've been so generous with your time, your knowledge, lots of gold nuggets here. For everybody who listened to this and got some value, please go to Rob's Facebook, his business, and give him some likes. But I'd be remiss if I didn't, again, if they wanted to know more about JPAR and the senior, I want to see that senior thing. So tell us again about the things that you're doing and how we can get in touch with you.
Sure. I've actually become, my teenage daughter gets mad when I say this. I guess I've crossed the threshold where I'm considered an influencer because I have enough followers across enough platforms.
Nice.
So if you follow me, Rob Wachter, public figure on Facebook, or our business page, the Wachter Group at JPAR Carolina Living, certainly reach out to me directly on Facebook. We have a large library of tips, tricks, videos. We do a lot of online shows like this that we catalog there with subject matter expert speakers that are specific to the 55 and up industry, as well as our tours of different communities. In fact, we're doing a community tour later today, at Windsor Run in Matthews. So these are the ways that we really want to connect with the community and be a resource. And what we find is we're actually a good resource for the people's children too. And we become part of the family when we help the parent or help the child help their parent. So yeah, that's probably the best way to find us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rob. And and I'll get you a copy of this as well. And you're welcome to use this however you'd like. I'll load it up to Dropbox for you. So they can message you personally through JPAR or your website, or how would they message you personally? Right.
Through Facebook.
Okay.
Just Rob Wachter or the Wachter Group right there.
And it's W-A for people who are driving, W-A-C-H.
W-A-C-H-T-E-R.
I only know that because it's on your background, but
gotcha.
I'm the worst speller in the world.
Gotcha. And we shortened the website. It's twgnc.com now. So the Wachter Group, twgnc.com.
Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for your time. And I appreciate you, all the value that you bring. And
Preston, I appreciate you inviting me. I've, had the pleasure of working with you doing this kind of thing before and with your inspectors many, many, many times. So we look forward to that relationship continuing.
Awesome. We'll have to do some more shows too.
Absolutely.
All right.
You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.